It's time for The Pet Show with America's favorite pet expert, Warren Eckstein. Warren is the author of How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want and How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. He's here to answer all your pet and animal questions. And now, Warren Eckstein.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Pet Show. Is your Pekingese acting a bit peculiar? Does your rescued feline have you in a total frenzy? Are your doodles a little depressed? Well, if you love animals, care about wildlife and the environment, and I mean really want to get into your dog or cat's head and understand how they think, if you really want to resolve any issues they may be having with you or any issues you may be having with them, stay tuned because once again, right here, right now, it is time for The Pet Show, America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch. Bring those furry little buddies with you, folks, because, yes, it is that time once again to let the animal analyzing begin. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. I'm glad to be with you this Saturday. If you have any questions or comments, want to share a great story about your dog or cats, this is the place. Time to get away from technology, away from the phones, away from computers, and talk about things that really matter in our life, like our dogs and cats. So if you have a question or comment about your dog or cat, let's say, for example, your dog is jumping or digging, or when you take him to the front door, he meets new people and he pees on the floor. You can't walk him down the block. He scratched everything in the house. Your cat's not using the litter box. I see from my first phone call, your cat's not getting along with the other cats in the household. That's what this show's all about. If you're a regular listener to the show, and this November, the show will be on the air 44 years. 44 years we've been on the air. What this show really is all about is establishing an equal, a positive relationship between people and the dogs or cats they live with. That's really my goal in life, is to make sure that they're all treated properly. Yeah, they're not all going to be treated like my Molly and Willie. Maybe you don't let your dog or cat sleep in bed. Maybe you don't let them eat at the dining room table or let them drive your car. That's just me, but that's what this show's all about. Helping people really understand the importance of that positive relationship that we have with our dogs and cats. So if you have a question about chewing, jumping, any behavioral issues, I just want to share a great story. I say that every week, and I mean that seriously. If you've recently adopted a dog or a cat or want to talk about a dog or cat you've adopted in the past, I encourage those calls here on the show. And the reason I do that is your phone calls often encourage other people to say, you know what? Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time that we go out and think about adopting or rescuing a dog or a cat. So those calls are equally as important as anything else. So if you have a question or a comment, by the way, did I mention that everyone that calls into the Pet Show today and gets to talk to me live on the air, besides having their questions answered, they will get an absolutely amazing gift for their dog or cat. Now, you may be new to the show. You may be a regular to the show, but let me just explain. The gifts I give away very often are related to the situation you're calling about. Many of the items I give away are worth as much as $30, $40, or even $50. So if you have a question or a comment about your dog or cat and you want to give me a call and we get to talk personally, one of these great gifts will be on its way for your best friend. The phone number here at the Pet Show, by the way, if you want to give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-KRLA. Or if you're more of a numbers person, that's 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. Plenty of time to answer you pet and animal questions. Get a lot of questions from people about certain behaviors with their cats. So we're going to talk a little bit about cats later, but let me tell you what I have planned for today's show. I'll try to get to all of my topics. If I can, I will. If not, you know that I'll be posting them on my YouTube channel. And by the way, we're broadcasting today live on YouTube. If you want to see the mug behind the voice, why you would, I don't know. But if you do, I'll take some questions from YouTube as well. You can just watch me do the show. It's youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. And yes, I'm doing the show from my home. Alex, when was the last time I was in the studio? Was it the 1800s? I don't remember. It's been a long time. So I actually am broadcasting today from my home in beautiful Santa Monica. So if you have a question or comment, great time to give me a call. If you want to ask a question on YouTube, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. The phone number 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. And I mean that. I got a great conversation this week with someone saying, Warren, I'm so tired of the TV and the streaming and the computers and the phones, what your show really does, it gives me a break. And let me just kind of sit there and enjoy what I really enjoy, spending time with my dogs and cats. And hopefully that's what we share with you guys every week. So 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. I guess that's why the show's been on for I can't believe it's going to be 44 years. God, when did I start? 7, 8 years old? Maybe I did. Anyway, let me tell you what's coming up on today's show. You know I'm not going to get to all my subjects because your questions are my priority, but really some interesting topics. What I've done is I've really gone into the back of my head, which I lost for a while. I've gone into the back of my head, and I'm bringing up topics I used to talk about when I used to do seminars and lectures all over the country. And some of these topics really are related to situations you may be having with your pet. So here are some of the topics I will try to get to today. If not, they'll be posted on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. So number one, does your brain get tired? Do you get a little distracted after sitting in a class or meeting for hours and hours on end? I know I do, and you probably do as well. So I know, Warren, what does that have to do with my dog? Well, training fatigue in dogs. It is not something I'm making up. It is real. So many trainers out there, so many behaviorists out there. I'm not talking about the good ones. I'm not talking about the amazing ones. What I'm talking about is these people that come to your house for an hour a week and spend a full hour training your dog. Even a shrink only gives you 40 minutes in an hour. Way too much time. Sometimes overtraining or flooding your dog with too much information can be confusing for them. And then when the dog's not responding, you get upset, blame the dog for it, when in reality, it's your fault. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Overtraining, training fatigue, it is a real thing. Also coming up, something I talked about years ago, and people said, Warren, are you kidding me? So listen up. When people start a new job, they often get what's called an onboarding period. Basically, a time to learn the do's and don'ts of their new workplace. Sounds important? Well, it is. Well, most of my listeners have adopted their pets, and pet adopters really need to be prepared to give their dogs and cats that same onboarding period as well. You don't know what their background is. You don't know where they're coming from. Give them some time to adjust. We'll talk about that later on today's show. Onboarding for your pets. When I started talking about that on today's show years ago, on the Today Show, they thought I was a little nuts. Al Roker was making fun of me because, Warren, that makes a lot of sense. That's what I always got when I did that show. Warren, that sounds a little weird, but it really does make a lot of sense. Also, coming up on today's show, for my feline lovers out there, I often talk about dogs and their compulsive behaviors. But what about our cats? In fact, certain cats are more apt to develop compulsive behaviors than others. So what causes compulsive behavior in cats? And are you to blame? We're going to talk about that. Plenty of time for your questions and comments. As I said, lots of great stuff to give away. So if your pet is jumping, chewing, scratching, confused about the litter box, that rescued puppy isn't housebroken, the new cat doesn't get along with the old cat, or your dog just believes that if he sees it, he must hump it, give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through to the show. So this week, I was taking my usual walk down in Santa Monica Beach. Can't believe you can't go in the water in Santa Monica for the last 2 years because it's polluted. Great beach, though, by the way. So I'm down there, and I'm walking along the beach with Denise, and I spot this bird, this beautiful seagull, and I'm a seagull fanatic. I find this seagull just on the sand with a broken leg up. And I'm looking at him, and he's doing fine. He's eating, he's going around, he's hopping around, he's having a ball. And I said to myself and to Denise, I said, Denise, there are so many things we can learn from animals. So many things in my life that I've learned from animals. And just another lesson from that seagull is that no matter what the challenge is, no matter what the challenge may be, move forward. Amazing stuff. And I think that's why some people say, Warren, you get along better with animals than you with people. Maybe they're right. Maybe it's that honesty. There's no facade with animals. They don't buy you a drink and call you a name when you leave. If they don't like you, you don't get that drink first. I just think that, I know I'm going off on a tangent. I just think that this week I've been dealing with a lot of rescue work and a lot of animals, and the shelters are overwhelmed and just been insane. I got to tell you, animals, if it wasn't for Molly and Willie, Denise too, but if it wasn't for Molly and Willie, sometimes just getting through the day, would be so difficult. They just know what I need when I need it. So that could be a question of the week. Do your dogs and cats know what you need when you need it? Do they know when you're not feeling good? They know when you're stressed out? Can they tell? Give me a call. Let me know. And if you get through, a great gift will be on its way. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Now, the reason I brought up that seagull story was that is legitimately the question of the day here. And I'd like to hear from you guys as well. What can humans learn from animals? What can humans learn from animals? You know, I often joke, one of the best things, it's a running joke, one of the best things you learn from a dog is if you don't like something, pee on it and walk away. We don't do that, but it's kind of interesting that I guess saying something would be our way of a dog lifting his leg. And let me tell you, I agree with dogs so many times. When my dog lifts his leg on something that he may not be supposed to, I praise him. I don't correct him. I praise him, especially if it's something that I agree. Hey, 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. And before I get to the phones, I posted something on Facebook this week. Just yesterday, I posted it. I was working with a rescue dog in an Arizona shelter. This goes back a while. It was a throwback Thursday. The dog's name was Donna. And I was trying to get across to people how to get a dog to respond to the come command, because so many people have that problem. And, you know, trainers, they put the dog on a 6-foot leash and they call the dog to come. And I can't think of a time that I would call my dog from 6 foot away. He's usually running around chasing a squirrel. So I talked about the concept of play training your dog into coming when called. And so I took this Donna from the shelter and I played with her and hung out with her for a few minutes. And I'm telling you by the way, she did find a home. But I want you to take a look at that video, because you'll see you don't have to be the Gestapo. You don't have to be the Gestapo to teach your dog how to respond. Make it fun, just like in education. If it's fun and interesting, we're more apt to learn. So are our pets. So check it out. You can check that out at my Facebook page, facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk, facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk. So check that out and take a look at Donna. She did find a home. It goes back a few years ago, before my hair was gray, but I got to tell you, that's probably one of the most important things I've tried to get across to people over the years, is that education, you know, training. I prefer the word education, but make sure it's fun. Make sure your dog is enjoying it, or you're having questions about your cat. Make sure they enjoy what you're trying to train them to do as well. Enjoying makes education, training, whatever you want to call it, a whole lot easier. Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Great stuff to give away. Hugs and kisses, Lucy Pet Food, Arthur Suit Gold, copies of my books, all natural flea spray, t-shirts. So everyone that calls in will get a super gift for their dog or cat. So if you have a question or a comment, or just want to share a great story about a dog or cat you rescued, great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break here. When we come back, I'll get to your phone calls. I promise. There's a couple of lines open. So give me a call now if you have a question or a comment, or just want to respond. I'd love to see what you believe you've learned from animals. What have you learned from animals, whether it be wild animals or your dog or cat? Give me a call, and if you get through, a great gift will be on its way. Quick break, then right back to your phone calls. Now, for Flipper. One of my best days ever was spending time in the wild with some dolphins swimming around. A little freaky the first time you get in the water with these big guys, but it was pretty amazing. Hey, the phones are absolutely full. I'm going to try to get to as many calls as I possibly can. How about we start off? We got Pat calling from Chatsworth. We've got a call from my friend Paul in New Jersey. Hey, Paul. I guess Paul's more of a medical call, so we might skip that. We got Nick in Northridge. JD calling from Philadelphia. Great call. And Curtis calling from Lancaster. So let's start out with Pat calling from Chatsworth. Hey, Pat, welcome to the show.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, this is Pat. I just wanted to say that I may have encountered that very same seagull a year or two ago on the same beach. I had gone there after an appointment, brought some lunch with me, and the bird was so endearing and friendly, I ended up giving it almost all my French fries.
And what's interesting about it is that very often when there's a bird with challenges or any animal with challenges, the rest of that group of animals will kind of stay away, or in some cases actually harm. And while I was walking, there was hundreds of gulls on one of the jetties, and this gull was in the sand all by himself. But he looked happy. He looked like he was dealing with his challenges pretty darn well.
Yeah, exactly. And also there's the pity factor, because I guess one might think, this disabled animal might have a more difficult time finding food than the others, but probably in the end they get more food because of the pity factor.
I mean, you're absolutely right. You know what's amazing? Disabled animals don't even realize they're disabled. That's what's amazing about them.
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, what can I do to help you out today?
So, I need your assistance, and I want to preface it by saying I have tried some of the things I've heard you suggest to other people in this situation, and they have not worked for me. So a few months ago, there was a kitten about 3 or 4 months old, abandoned on my block. Some neighbor found it, brought it over, knowing I had a couple other cats inside. They're all females, by the way. And the kitten, who is otherwise just delightful, turns into a little growling demon when encountering the other cats, at least the ones inside. One of my 2 cats, which I'd had over 10 years, was so frightened that she got out of the house and ran away. I tried to get her back in, so I actually lost a cat because of this new kitten. The other one.
Let me just stop you for a second. First of all, when you try something, you keep trying something. In other words, if I were to give up with a dog or a cat that I was working with and say, you know what, I'm trying this, it's not working. I tried it for a couple of weeks, it's not working. I might make some alterations. But again, people very often give up. I didn't see results in a week, so I'm going to stop doing that and move on to something else. Remember my famous line, there's no such thing as trying, only progress in small steps. With that amount of female cats living together, it's very difficult. What you need to really do is focus on distraction. The more distraction they have, the quicker they will respond to each other. Now, I know you've done everything. You did the scent swapping, I'm sure, and the sitting on one end of the couch, the other end of the couch. I'm sure you've done all that. Have you tried introducing one-on-one?
I'm not sure what that means.
Well, introducing one cat at a time to the younger cat, then a bunch all at the same time.
Well, I only have one left inside. The other one ran away. I mean,
and you still haven't gotten that cat back?
No, she's gone. She hung out in the backyard for a couple of weeks, and it was one of these cats that.
Okay, so if you only have the one indoor cat right now, what's your question to me?
Well, I can't keep them in the same part of the house.
What? You just have how many cats do you have in the house?
2.
Okay, there's 2.
And one of the previous ones.
Okay, the one of the previous ones got out, and the one of the previous ones is still in. Now, tell me a little bit about the aggressive behavior. When does it take place?
Well, whenever she either sees the other cat, she'll hiss and growl. And sometimes when she doesn't even see the other cat, but suspects the cat might be nearby, she'll start with the same behavior.
And what does the other cat do?
Well, initially the other cat was very scared, but then suddenly there was a turnaround about a week or 2 ago, and now the older cat before the kitten would attack the older cat. Now the older cat has gotten, I think, fed up, and she's now chasing the kitten.
All right,
but
here's
fight, and I can't mix them in the same part of the house.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make your home more interesting for the cat. So I want you to do is, you hear me talk about it every week, and I'm assuming you tried it. Well, keep trying it. Paper bags, cardboard boxes, put them all over the house, move them around. When they're together in the house, they have to focus on each other. The more distraction you give them, the less focused they are on each other. They'll focus for a minute and say, hey, wait, that's something different. So that's where you need to be. The more distraction you give to both of them at this point, the quicker they're going to get along with each other. In terms of trying any type of corrective behavior, not at this point. I think you're doing fine. I think one of the cat was more assertive. Now the other cat's being more assertive, and they'll find that equilibrium. They'll find that balance. Don't try to force it. They know better than we know. But the most important thing whenever you have any two animals living together is to give them the opportunity, much opportunity, to be distracted so their focus isn't entirely on each other. This is not a difficult problem. It's just something that's going to take some time, something that's going to take some patience, and you need to give them the opportunity to work it out without you getting overly involved.
I'm just concerned that one of them is going to kill the other.
Have you ever come home to bloodshed? Have you ever come home to bloodshed?
Pardon?
Have you ever come home to bloodshed?
I never leave them in the same part of the house.
But when you're home with them, where are they?
When I'm home, one is in my bedroom all the time, and the other one is in the rest of the house.
So in other words, you confine one and you let the other one have the rest of the house. So what would make you think that that's not going to cause more animosity?
Well, anytime I try to mix them, and the one in the bedroom wants to get out, obviously, to go back to her old.
Don't get involved. Let the other one out of the bedroom. Distract them with the cardboard boxes, the paper bags. Let the other one out. That's what. The more you separate them, the more aggressive behavior you're going to see. So that's why I say trying so important. But the more you separate, the more assertive they're going to become, and it's going to be more difficult to resolve it. Right now, let them out. If you see a battle, you're there. You can stop the battle. Use an air horn, whatever you need to do. But give them plenty of things to distract them. Give them the opportunity. By not allowing them to see each other, that mystique is creating much of the problem that you're running into.
The kitten has not yet been spayed. Might some of this behavior be?
I got to move on. But yeah, you're right. It could be the spaying may be helping at this point, but it sounds to me like now the behavior's already kind of established itself. So there's a little bit of challenge going on because of the fact that one of them's non-spayed. The spaying may help a little bit, but the advice I gave you is going to help a lot more. Anyway, I got to move on. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to send you a copy of How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want. And please, everyone, understand, why do we expect miracles with our pets? If they don't learn it right away, you keep trying. If you have a child that's having difficult reading, do you stop teaching him how to read, or do you just spend a little more time and make a little progress slower? Why do we expect miracles with our dogs and cats? No, we shouldn't do that. And when people say to me, listen, I've tried everything. No, you haven't tried everything. You continue to try until you get the results you want. You have to alter what you may be doing, but you have to be consistent in terms of trying to get the response. That was a long call. I'm already blowing off topics. I want to get to you. I want to get to you, Paul. I want to get to you, Nick. I want to get to you, JD. I want to get to you, Curtis. Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a quick break, then right back to your phone calls. I promise. Listen. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. The question of the day is, what can we learn from our animals? What can we learn from our dogs and our cats, or even wild animals out there? Give me a call, and if you get through and we talk, a great gift will be on its way for your buddy. Again, 866-870-5752. Just before we get back to the phones, I want to sound like a genius here today, but I had a call this week. Actually, it wasn't a call. It was an email from one of my listeners from Oklahoma, and she had a cat, and she could not get the cat to eat. The cat would not eat no matter what. She can put the same food in a different dish, but the cat would eat it, but if she puts it in the cat's dish, the cat would not eat it. So first thing I asked was, what type of dish was it? Is it china? Is it plastic? Let me tell you what I really delved into, and this is something I learned in Europe, and I pulled it out of the back of my head. Little cat bowls, and everyone likes them. They're cute. They got little paws on them. Little cat bowls may be cute, but cats don't really care about the way they look. Cats cannot stand their whiskers touching the sides of a container when they're eating or drinking. Do you hear me? Cats are not thrilled with their whiskers touching the sides of the container when they're eating or drinking. Try a small plate for food. No, I'm telling you, use a bigger plate. Don't let their whiskers touch. And I called her. We took care of it. And now the cat is eating fine all over again. Yeah, I had my genius cap on this week. I just told her to change the bowls, and the cat is absolutely fine. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Nick in Northridge, welcome to the Pet Show. Hey, Nick.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Nick, how you doing?
Good, buddy. So the question is regarding one of our dogs, and they're both young, like 10 to 12 months. And the one that's a Shepherd Shepherd Husky mix, yeah. And he's about 75 pounds, so he's getting kind of a big dog, looking like a Shepherd more than the Husky. And the problem is jumping up and sometimes giving the little love bites, not just to me, but also to guests. And I want to ask you your opinion, first of all, about the use of a shock collar, recommended or not. So please, give me your advice.
I definitely recommend the shock collar for you, not for your dog.
All right, my lady likes that.
I felt the same.
No, in other words, why would you want to shock a dog? It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, how were dogs trained before there was electricity and batteries that were trained properly?
Okay.
How did I train so many dogs? Listen, there's a much, much better way. Training the dog and educating the dog is critical, but there's a much more positive way to do it. You need to do it in a playful, in a friendly, in an educational, in a learning way. You have an incredible combination. What a blended breed you have. You have the German Shepherd and the Husky combination. Perfect breed. You need to start training the dog very positively. If anyone recommends a shock collar to you, that's because they have no idea. This is not a military dog. This is not a police dog, even though I don't think they should be using those collars either. But the bottom line is using a regular collar or a no-pull harness is the way to go. So, for example, right now, if the dog goes to jump up on somebody, Nick, you can say no till you're blue in the face. That's not going to stop the dog from jumping. What you need to do is respond, have the dog respond to something you've taken the time to teach him, whether it be sit or stay. In the interim, he's a puppy. A big puppy. So what we want to do is use a little distraction as well. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is, besides starting your basic education, I'm going to send you a copy of my book, by the way, where there's no electricity at all. What I want you to do at that point, Nick, is I want you to understand that I want you to pick out a favorite item that the dog absolutely loves, something the dog can't live without. The only time he gets that is when someone new is coming into the house. You hand it to him, let him calm down for a few minutes, you take it away, then you make that social. That's the way to do it. But in terms of shock collars, it's for lazy trainers and for people that don't want to take the time to really educate their dog. So, yeah, am I anti-shock collars? You bet I am. Why? Because I've had to, over the years, retrain so many dogs that were trained using shock collars. And I just don't get it. I just don't understand why someone would revert to that. If you have a child that doesn't behave, you educate him and socialize. If you have a dog that's not behaving, maybe the method you're using using is not working, maybe you have to go to a different method. And let me tell you something. Husky German Shepherd combination, that dog's probably going to dial a phone and call me and ask me about you in a couple of weeks. That's how smart these dogs are. But all joking.
I felt the same way. I just was really hesitant. Somebody did recommend it, but I'm glad to hear your advice.
Yeah, all joking aside, Nick, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You know how many dogs I've trained over the years. I'm not going to go through my bragging routine here in every single continent and country. And the bottom line is every dog can be educated. Every dog can be trained. They're not all going to be Rin Tin Tin, but they can be trained. So that combination you have right now, if you focus more on teaching good and focus less on correcting bad, that's critical. So I'll give you an example. When the dog is just lying around, you're watching TV, the dog's lying on the floor, just go over and say, good boy, what a good boy, pat him on the head. If he nips a little bit, walk away. If you overreact to it, the nipping to me is a sign of a socialization. So just walk away. Just walk away. Don't overly correct him for that either, because then he's going to do it to other people and not you. We want to teach the dog that's just not acceptable behavior. He doesn't get any reaction from anybody. Gave you a lot there. Have you absorbed it, Nick?
Thank you. Thank you for the advice. I appreciate
Nick, don't go anywhere. Give the dog a hug. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold and listen to your wife next time, Nick. She knows what she's talking about. Let's send Nick a copy of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. And that's what amazes me. You know, years ago, when I first started, there might have been, a handful of trainers and behaviorists around the country that were really kind of known and really focusing on it. Now the most difficult thing to find in America is someone who's not a dog expert. I mean, the dentist gives you dog advice, the chiropractor, the bagel guy gives you dog advice, your next door neighbor gives you dog advice. When you take advice from someone, make sure you're taking advice from someone who is able to give you the advice that you need to take. It's so important, because I see that so many times. I see my neighbor. I saw one of my neighbors the other day walking a poodle with a prong collar, a mini poodle with a prong collar. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me. And where'd you get that idea? She either saw it on TV or the guy at the pet store recommended it. Unbelievable. When I want my teeth done, I go to a dentist. I don't go to someone selling me products at a pet store. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Let me do this. Let me take a break. When we come back, we got Paul in New Jersey. We have JD in Philadelphia. I want to get to your call. We got to Curtis in Lancaster. We got Rick in L.A., Catherine in Yorba Linda. We'll get to all your calls. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me do a quick break here, and then we'll get right to your calls. And by the way, is no one going to answer my question of the day? Has no one learned anything from animals? Have you not followed or looked at your dog or cat and learned that when you're tired, they take a nap? When they have energy, they exercise? You've not learned anything from your dogs? Give me a call. Let me know what you've learned from your dogs and cats, and I will send you a super gift. Quick break, then right back to your phone calls. Listen. So all it takes is to look into the eyes. Hey, we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number, 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-5752. Still coming up on today's show, I'm going to get to your calls. I might have to blow some of these topics off. We're going to talk about onboarding. You know what onboarding is? When you get a new job, it's onboarding, where they teach you the pros and cons of working there. We'll talk about that. And also, we're going to talk about tired brains, which is kind of interesting. Dogs get them as well. But right now, let me get back to the phone lines here. We're going to get to all your calls, I promise. I'm not going to leave anyone hanging. Let's go to Paul in Englishtown, New Jersey. Hey, Paul. Let me make you feel at home. Raceway Park. How you doing, Paul?
I know, Warren. I always wait to hear you say that.
I used to take my Duster, my 340 Duster, when I just got out of the service. I took my Duster down to Englishtown, and I would actually race it there.
Yeah, that's gone. They don't race anymore. No more drag strip.
I closed it right up. My car was too fast for everybody. Anyway, what can I do for you, Paul?
Okay. When people talk about shock collars, I go to YouTube, put in shock collars, and they got these videos of people who put them on and they're dying.
There you go. It's a good idea. Check them out. Right. What can I do to help you out, Paul?
Yes, when you talk about what you've learned from animals.
Yeah.
Every animal in this house has been rescued. We at one time had 3 dogs. As we lost one, the other 2 became closer and realized our loss. And now we're down to 1, and this guy is like just so close with us that he realizes he's the one now to give us happiness.
Yeah, it's amazing how they come into our lives at some times when we need them the most.
It is. And this guy came from Miami, and we started him as a foster, and we kept him.
Paul, usually it's the other way around. People from Miami people from New Jersey moved to Miami, but this dog came from Miami. He went in reverse and came to Jersey. Yeah, so it's amazing. First of all, when you adopt a dog, my belief is, or a cat, they know you saved their life and pay you back every day for the rest of theirs. So you just have the one now.
That's the one. Yeah. And, Warren, here's the thing what I'm afraid of. Unfortunately now, we're at 75. If he goes, we got to find an older dog. I do not want to have us cross the Rainbow Bridge, and this poor dog is going to wonder what happened. So,
well, Paul, let's do this. I hope he lives to be forever. But there are great organizations. There's Gray Muzzles, which is a great organization for adopting older dogs. There's a great organization I worked with here in Southern California. Their name's getting off of my mind right now. But there are so many great organizations that focus on finding homes for senior dogs whose guardians may have passed on or whatever. So, yeah, when the time comes, hopefully it won't be for 20 years. You'll get in touch with me, and I'll give you all the information of the groups that you need.
Absolutely.
So, Paul, listen. Let me do this. I'm going to put you on hold. When was the last time we talked? It's been a while, right?
It's got to be close to 2 years. That's when we lost our first one.
Okay, Paul, listen. So let me do this. I got to move on, but don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold, and let's send Paul one of the new T-shirts that says, "None of my friends walk upright." I just love that call. So when this one crosses the Rainbow Bridge, we're going to adopt an older dog or an older cat. Just unbelievable. Hey, let's go to JD. Hey, JD, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. Oh, great. Warren, how are you?
I cannot be better. How can I help you?
So here's the thing. So it was really amazing because you said 2 things. I thought I have to call in today. I try to listen every week. But the bottom line was you said, do you think that your animal's getting compulsive? And I have an older rescue cat. I got him in 2009. He was about a year old. So I guess he's like 15. It's kind of disturbing because he's a rag doll. I'm not into breedism, but I got him because I had an older cat that was dying, and he needed a companion. I figured he would be really gentle. You know what I mean? So I
ragdoll cats are amazingly gentle cats. They're just absolutely incredible.
Oh my God! Yeah, they're just. He's a little fierce one though, because I take him on walks because of your book, and believe me, he stared down up to and including a giant, like almost not quite as big as a Clydesdale, but a horse, and that was hilarious. That was just hilarious. So, but at any rate, so notice he's got this thing now where he like I've set him in different places, but now he'll only eat and for different reasons. Like I took him out of the kitchen because there was too much activity, and I got him. He was kind of high and strung, and he didn't get to eat right peacefully from the house where I adopted him from. And he was about a year, like I say, when I got him. So I thought, okay, I'll feed him out in the hallway. But now what it is because he's got something going on with his sinuses and such. And I got your tear vitamins, but because I thought they would help with that, and clear sinuses, and the eyes discharging, and then also having the backup in the sinuses. But anyway, so I try to humor him, but I like to also feed him in the living room so I can see that he's actually eating. So because I spend a lot of time there, so I bring him in, and I have 2 places now, and I'm thinking I guess I should just. Is this like, because you had mentioned senility and stuff, is it because he's getting older?
No, it's because everything smells different to him. Cats' sense of smell is critical to them. You brought up the sinus thing. Their food smells different. Where they eat their food smells different. Where you put the bowl smells different. At 15 years old, wherever he wants to eat, that's where you feed him. I could care less.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's challenging sometimes to figure it out, but we've got it worked out because, you also from your book.
Why don't you let him choose? Why don't you put down 3 smaller dishes of food in different locations? Let him choose which location he's more comfortable at.
Well, he's kind of like I say. It's like because like when I didn't say, but I heard from you. I listen and learn. He eats off of glass or china plates, right? Glass plate and china plate. It's flat, so it doesn't have the hyper whisker stimulation. And I'm sorry, what was I lost my train of thought.
No, don't. It sounds to me like at 15 years old, the cat has a sinus infection. Wherever he wants to eat, feed him. It may be a pain in the butt for you, but he gave you 14 years of great life and smiles. So he's a little senile. Maybe he's a little compulsive at this point. I say feed him wherever he wants to eat. I eat in front of the TV 90% of the time.
Yeah, no, believe me, I do. I try to do everything.
All right, well, that's all. That's what JD. That's all you need to do at this point. There's no other problem. In other words, when the sinuses clear up, maybe he's only 15 years old. I've seen cats 22, 23. So I think at this point, let the sinuses clear up. But at this point, adapt to him. If he's 15 years old and he wants to eat here and wants to eat there, that's what you need to do.
And the thing is, I didn't think that he was old, to tell you the truth. Most of my cats make it to around 20, and the few that I've had, I should say. And so it was really depressing because that's one thing I have seen. Because I used to have like this bottle of crunchies, right? Because I can't feed him crunchies. He's got something going on with his gastrointestinal.
JD, listen, I got my East Coast people. I love you. I got to move on, JD. But follow my advice. Feed him wherever you want to eat. I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to send you some Lucy Pet food for your cat. Maybe the Lucy Pet will get to eat wherever he wants. Quick break, then right back to your phone calls. Great time to give me a call. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I can always tell my East Coast callers because they tend to talk a little bit quicker, kind of like me. 866-870-5752. Hey, listen, you must be. Are you sick and tired of your dog or cat's excessive shedding? Is that constant And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Just so you know, we have a whole other hour to go. Plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. I'll get to some of my topics there as well. I definitely want to talk. There was an interesting call that just came in about their cat's behavior. We're going to talk a little bit about compulsive behavior for cats. We don't often get to talk about that. In the interim, I got calls up here. Hey, Rick, I got your call. Curtis, I know you've been hanging on a long time. Has a question about a new cat and Spain. Well, let me see if I can get to him real quick. And then Rick and Catherine, you'll be my first to calls coming back. Hey, Curtis, how you doing? Hey, Curtis.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of time. How can I help you, Curtis?
Passive-aggressive behavior problem with our new cat. I've got a 13-year-old that has been with me since my mom passed. I adopted her cat, and then my sister moves in 6-7 years later, and she picks up a stray out of the yard, a Manx, who was just totally oblivious to her not liking his presence. He just ignored her no matter what she did until she, about 3 years later, finally just quit hissing and yelling at him all the time. And now we have a third cat that is a squatter. He just decided he lived here, and he is the most beautiful, passive, loving, gentle cat I've ever owned.
So what's okay? I don't want to run out of time, Chris. So what's the question?
Okay, the question is, once the new cat was allowed in the house and started eating out of the other cats, the other man.
You know what, Curtis? You're gonna have to call me back. We're losing you, Curtis. Call me back on a different line because we're definitely. I couldn't understand what you're saying. Give me a call back. We got a whole other hour to go. Hey, here's the deal. I got a couple of open lines. We got a whole other hour to go. Plenty of time for your questions and comments. Lots of great stuff to give away. I got hugs and kisses to give away, copies of the books, the T-shirts, natural flea spray. Plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. Still coming up on today's show, the question of the day is, what have you learned from your dogs and cats? Not what we've taught them, but what have you learned from them? And if you have a question of that behavior, they're jumping, they're humping, they're digging, they're scratching, they're running out of the door, they're not getting along with each other, you can't take your dog for a walk, we'll answer all of your pet and animal questions. And as I said, lots of great stuff to give away. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Or if you want to ask a question on YouTube, it's youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. We're going to take a quick break for the top of the hour. We'll come back. We'll get to see Curtis call back. We'll try to get to Curtis again. Rick, we'll get to Catherine, 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show.
your pet's head. But maybe it's you who needs to be trained instead.
And if you love animals, you came to the right place. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Been on the air with you guys. Be 44 years next month, helping you resolve any issues you may be having with your dogs or cats, or any issues your dogs or cats may be having with you. Jumping, not getting along, housebreaking, chewing, barking, digging, scratching, not using the litter box, humping everything in sight. Great time to give me a call, by the way. If you happen to be new to the Pet Show, the phone number here is 866-870-KRLA. If you give me a call and we talk live on the air, I will be sending you a fabulous gift. Many of the items I give away worth as much as $40 or $50. So if you have a question or a comment about your dog or cat, or just want to share a great story about a dog or cat you saved, or answer my question of the day, what can humans learn from animals, give me a call. If we get through, a great gift will be on its way. Again, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Let me just say this, okay? Here, you hear me give away a lot of gifts here on the Pet Show, okay? Everyone that calls in pretty much gets a gift, and I'm saying that someone wanted a different gift. And the bottom line is, you have to take the gift I give you. It's not, we can't make a deal here because they're coming from different locations. So I know that Suzette JD wanted something different. I gave him something different. Whatever I gave him is what he has to get, and I appreciate that. And by the way, if you want information on the gifts on the show and how I give them away and all the legalities behind it, you can go to my website and read all about it at thepetshow.com. So whatever gift I give you, that's the gift you have to take. Call me back in a couple of months. I'll give you another one, or maybe you can go online and get it, because I can't change the gifts once I've given them away. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. We're going to get back to you, Curtis. I know you've been hanging on. I'm definitely going to get to you. You know what? Let me do this. This is the order I'm going to go in. I'm going to go to Rick, and then I'm going to go to Francis. We got a jumping dog in Yorba Linda. Catherine, I want to get to you. You've been holding on for a long time. Then we're going to get back to you, Curtis. But right now, let me go. By the way, the phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I still got some T-shirts to give away. All natural herbal flea spray with this hot weather. You guys are going to need that. Copies of my best-selling books, Hugs and Kisses supplements, Lucy Pet Food. So great time to give me a call, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Hey, Rick, welcome to the Pet Show.
Yeah, thanks for the call. So, bottom line, my cat doesn't come up on the bed anymore. So, just a bit of background. That was his favorite spot. I have a ramp that I built for a previous diabetic cat that leads up to my bed. And so he'd love to run up the ramp and jump on to the bed and curl up with me while I slept and all that. He hadn't done that for like a month. And what I'm thinking is, because he's mobile, it's not an arthritic thing, what I'm thinking is that the other cat might have thrown up on there's a little piece of throwaway carpet that I have that runs up the ramp, for traction.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the other cat might have thrown up on that. So I think I might try to hit some of the carpet shops to pick up another remnant to put it on the ramp. That's my little...
But how's his overall readiness? I mean, he's not suffering from arthritis or anything like that at all?
No.
Have you... How is your health?
Oh, wonderful.
The reason I asked that, I've had situations before where a dog or a cat that would sleep in bed with their guardian all of a sudden stopped sleeping in bed with the guardian, and it turned out that the guardian had some type of medical issue with themselves that the cat or dog was able to pick up on. So that I always have to ask that question. I think it's a great idea. I think changing the carpet's a great idea, but what I would do first, before you put the carpet on the ramp, put the carpet on the floor, the remnant that you're going to get, so he gets used to kind of walking on it, and you might want to rub it on your bed where he used to sleep as well. I think you're probably right that the fact that the other cat got sick might have been enough of a challenge for your cat to decide he's not going to go up the ramp.
Yeah, because I even washed the comforter and everything like that.
Yeah, but their sense of smell, it was probably the ramp and not the comforter. So I would definitely follow that. Pick up that new remnant. And some cats, maybe he slipped off the ramp when you weren't around. Maybe if you want to spend a couple of bucks and get one of those little staircases for the bed, that might, they sell them for dogs and cats as well. That might help if he likes going upstairs and cats. But
if you saw the ramp, it's a gorgeous ramp.
It might be gorgeous, but it doesn't make it any easier for him to get up. It could be filled with diamonds. Yeah. It's got to be easy for him to get up. Try the remnant first, Rick, and see if that doesn't make a difference.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, don't go in. I'm going to put you on hold, and we are going to send Rick for his cat. We're going to send some, we're going to make sure that his hips and joints are in great shape, Rick. I am sending you a jar of my own Hugs and Kisses vitamin mineral supplement treats with that chondroitin and glucosamine. That cat will have the healthiest hips around. Just before, let me do this. A lot of phone calls coming in, but I wanted to share this with you because I have a lot of cat calls coming in today. The phones are jammed. I'm going to get to all your phone calls. Certain cats more likely, a lot of people don't understand because I talk an awful lot about compulsive behavior in dogs. But what about compulsive behavior in cats? Certain cats are more likely to develop compulsive behavior habits than other cats. Cats which are stressed frequently are more prone to develop compulsive behaviors, and here are some of the signs. Excessive grooming, hair pulling, or pica, eating anything around. The first thing you'd want to do if you notice these changes is check with your vet to make sure, because there could be medical issues associated with that, such as allergies, skin conditions, parasites, back pain. So you want to check that out. But cats can have compulsive. A lot of people just assume that cats can take care of themselves. Cats need that mental stimulation. You hear me about the changing of cardboard boxes and making things different. Compulsive behavior in cats is very often caused by stress. So if you have a cat that's all of a sudden starting to display some compulsive behaviors, check out the stress situation in your home. Catherine, you're Belinda. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi.
Hi,
Thanks
Catherine.
for taking me a call.
My pleasure. What's up?
We got a rescue about 2.5 months ago. She's a wonderful dog, but she is very, very hyper. I walk her about 4 times a day, but she jumps up a lot, and she doesn't like my little grandkids.
Really? And I guess you want.
Scared.
Okay, so here's the scenario. What type of dog is it?
She's shepherd mostly. She's got Australian cattle dogs, some chow.
Okay, so you're dealing with a genius here. Okay, so have you done any training with the dog whatsoever?
Yes, I have.
And what type of training have you done?
Well, it's been good stuff. I did start out with somebody that was the real aggressive, and I didn't go with the the shot collar or any of that.
Yeah.
And then I switched to somebody who does training in our city. And,
that's good. The reason I brought that up, okay, is very often when we have a dog that's excited like this, people focus on correcting the dog. Don't jump up, no. Don't do this, no. Don't pull, no. Don't go after my grandkids, no. No. Rather than spending a lot of time on the positive aspect of the dog. If the dog is receiving proper training, it simply means that the dog should respond to you. The dog. Are you with me? Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So in other words, the point I'm trying to get is that if the dog has been properly trained, when the behavior that is not proper is occurring, that's when you got to go back to your basic training. That's really critical.
Okay.
Now, do your grandkids live with you?
No, they do not.
Okay, turn your radio. Turn your radio.
She is really good with the crates.
I'm not. Turn your volume down on your radio.
Okay.
Okay, much better. Here's the scenario.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not a big fan of crates. Use it if you want to use it. That's your option. In terms of the grandkids, what I would do is have some of the grandkids leave their unwashed clothing behind. I would actually even, whenever you leave the house, I have no children. I always leave my TV on a channel like Nick at Night, or not Nick at Night, but a channel which is cartoons and kids yelling and screaming. I like them as well. That's really important, okay? Because all of a sudden these animated, how old are your grandkids coming? Kids are animated, so they come into the house and the dog's going to jump. And the more you say no, the more you're getting the dog excited. I would really recommend basic training. Forget the training. I want you to find yourself a trainer. If you're happy with this person, he's doing a positive thing, that's fine. But what good is a trained dog if the training doesn't react when you need it to react? What good is a dog that sits and stays and doesn't jump at 11 o'clock at night? It's the dog that jumps when your grandkids come over. So what a trainer should be doing, if you have someone coming to your house, is working with the dog when your grandkids are there, working with the dog at your home where the problems take place. That's how you resolve this issue.
Right.
This is not a big problem. This problem can be resolved in a matter of 3 or 4 days if someone were to take the time to show you the best way to respond to it. Not to get upset, not to get angry, but to take a breath, maybe have a glass of wine, and do some training right at that point. That's how you resolve that problem.
Okay. Okay.
Catherine, don't go anywhere. Listen,
now,
I just
what about, I think
Go ahead.
I think I heard you at the beginning talking about a Shepherd Husky mix, having a favorite toy, and throwing that when the distraction comes.
Yeah, in other words, what you want to do is, that's usually for just an initial reaction. So in other words, if the dog gets real excited when someone comes to the door, you don't want the dog not to be able to greet them eventually, but you just want to get the dog calmed down a little bit. So what you can do is just give him that toy for a couple of minutes. After a couple of minutes, take it away. He's already calmed down at that point, hopefully. And then the next time he gets that toy is when people come over. Don't go anywhere. Catherine, I'm putting you on hold. I'm sending you a copy of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. God, people are great. I just wish I was out more. And I don't mean that from an egotistical point of view, but as you heard me say this earlier, the hardest thing to find right now is someone who's not an expert on dogs and dog training. And there's some advice out there that's really good and some advice out there that's really bad. You have to find where you're going to get your advice from and what you're going to do about it. Listen, I have certain problems, medical issues. When I want my advice about my medical issues and my behavioral issues, I go to a professional. And if it doesn't sound right to me, you know what? I get a second opinion or a third opinion. So anytime it doesn't sound right, chances are it's not. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me ask you guys a question. And I mean this seriously. When you were growing up, did your friends have dogs? Sure they did. When you were growing up, did your friends' homes have cages and crates in them? Probably not. Did anyone back then have a shock collar, a spike collar, a prong collar, or this whole alpha approach to dog training? Probably not. All of my friends had dogs. Yeah, they had their little quirks. One would jump once in a while. One would have an accident once in a while. But they were happy, well-adjusted, well-behaved dogs. All of a sudden, all these modern technologies come out, and we're looking for perfection in our dogs. No such thing. There's no such thing as the perfect dog. We all like to think our dogs are perfect. Even mine, Molly, and Willie, every once in a while, I can't believe they did that. That's the bottom line. Enjoy them. We have them for such a short period of time. Enjoy them. Let them live their lives. Educate them. Train them. Resolve issues you're having with them. But I'm so tired of going into people's homes or seeing dogs walk on the street with their heads down because they're not happy. They're not enjoying their walk because they're made to walk right alongside of you all the time. Let them sniff. Let them play. Let them go here. Let them dig a hole once in a while. I'm tired of us over-regulating our dog's behavior. And take it from me. I've been doing this for a long time. I answered these questions 100 times on the Today Show. And Regis and Kathy Lee, you have to let dogs be dogs once in a while. You have to let cats be cats once in a while. Sometimes by over-controlling them, we create more problems than we actually resolve. Had to do that, folks. Hey, the phone number, 866-870-KRLA. The phones are absolutely full. I'm going to try to get to all of your calls, I promise. But right now, I got to take a quick break, and then I will get to you, I promise. Curtis, you'll be up next. We have Catherine. We got Francis in San Marino. We got Teresa in Manhattan Beach. We got Steve in North Hollywood. We'll get to all your calls right after this. But right now, one of the most important things And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number 866-870-KRLA. Curtis, I'm going to go to you next. Before I do that, my amazing screener Suzette writes, a caller who did not want to go on the air needs advice on a neighbor being abusive to the dog. She says she has video and forwarded it to animal control, police, and no results. What can she do? The squeaky wheel gets oiled. What you need to do is get other people in the neighborhood to join in with you. With numbers, you can make a difference. You call them every day. You call the sheriff's department. You call the police department every single day. You call animal control every single day. I have no miracles for you. Having served as a peace officer for the state of New York many years ago, we investigated whatever we could. If you have a video on it, what I would do is also perhaps send that into a newsroom. Send it to the media. If it's really that abusive, the media will pick up on it. But keep calling. Don't stop. Best advice I could give you. All right, let's go to my friend Curtis. Hey, Curtis, you back with me?
I'm back.
All right. Why'd you hang up on me, Curtis? I know. Hey, so you have
walked through a cell phone black hole.
You have 3 cats, right?
It's 3 cats. 2-year-old Tavi, who started spraying around the house. He was coexisting wonderfully with a 7-year-old Manx until he started doing that. And now the Manx is not real happy with him.
Okay, when you say not real happy, what's going on specifically? Are there bloodshed, fights, snoring?
Occasionally, he'll chase him around the house and pin him down and growl at him and just teach him who's boss.
When you're not home, Curtis, when you and your family aren't home, the cats have access to each other?
Yes, they typically are in the backyard. They stay in the backyard all day long, come in and out when they wish.
I'm not a big fan of outdoor cats. I think that's part of your problem. What happens when you have cats outdoors and they pick up the scent of other cats, when they go inside, they become more dominant. I'm not a fan of outdoor cats. I'm a fan of making the indoors interesting enough so they don't have to go outdoors, but it's just way too dangerous out there I know you live in Lancaster, between coyotes and other situations. I would not have my cats outside. So the best advice I can give you is keep them inside and understand that the more time they spend outside, the more they pick up the scent of other cats or other animals that may be around, the more dominant they're going to be on the inside. That being said, let me help resolve the issue with the spraying. What I want you to do is make sure you clean up that area thoroughly, any areas where the cat is sprayed with a stain and odor remover made specifically for pets, not something for people, not something under the cupboard. They all contain ammonia, so does urine, just putting the scent back down. So make sure you clean up with a good stain and odor remover that's enzymatic, made specifically for pets. Then what I would recommend that you do is, being that it seems like one of the cats is claiming territory, I would get a second litter box in the house, or a third litter box. I don't know how many you have, but I would bring a litter box in the house, but instead of putting litter in it temporarily, I would just put some dirt and grass in it from outside. This way, instead of going around the house, they're going to go to the area where they're picking up the scent. That would be where that litter box and dirt and grass comes into play. The other thing I would do is take a little bit of their dry kibble and put in the area where they previously peed, just with a little bit of, after you've cleaned it up, just put some of their kibble there. But I think bringing in that second or third litter box from that outside grass is going to make a big difference here. But I really think the end result is getting them inside.
Interesting. Okay.
A big difference. And the indoor cats, years ago, everyone let their cats outdoors, Curtis. We all did it. We all did that. You know what? It's way too dangerous. If you were to be on my Facebook page every day, you hear about people that either lost their cat, or their cat was taken away by a coyote, or their cat was this, or their cat was that. So it's way too dangerous. Now, what I'm going to do, Curtis, I want you to follow my advice, but I'm also going to put you on hold and send you a copy of how to get your cat to do what you want. And the reason I'm doing that is because it will also not only encourage you with any issues in terms of marking in the house, but equally as important, it will teach you how to convert an outdoor cat to an indoor, an outdoor cat to an indoor cat, or an outdoor cat to an indoor cat. It makes all the difference in the world. Now, you just heard one of my listeners from Philadelphia call and said she walks her cat every day on a leash and harness. I don't want to take the credit for it, but I will. I talk about it in my book and teach you how to do that, and also showed it on TV many, many times. So there are a lot of things you can do, but you know what? It's not the same as it was when we were growing up. Too dangerous for our cats to be out there. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Francis, San Marino, welcome to the Pet Show.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Francis.
Thank you so much for keeping a positive, inspirational attitude. But and I'm wondering, how do you deal with seeing the barbarism, like people what they do to other people, like in in the Middle East, like cutting off babies' heads, burning.
Yeah. Francis, I don't want to comment on what's going on in the Middle East. Everyone knows where I stand on the Middle East. My last name's Eckstein. Okay. The bottom line is this, though. I want you to understand that in terms of animals, the abuse that goes on is just unbelievable. I don't know where these people come from, how they were brought up, but the abuse is just unbelievable. But you're absolutely right. Anyone that can hurt an animal, I know you want me to donate your gift, so I'll do that. Anyone that can hurt an animal can definitely hurt people as well. So I don't want to comment on the Middle East right now. I think other people will be commenting on that during the week. Hey, the phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. Still got a couple of open lines here, 866-870-5752. Is there no one out there that can admit that they've learned anything from their dog or a cat? Anything? I've learned to when I'm tired, take a nap. When I'm energetic, exercise. When I'm hungry, eat. To circle 3 times before I lie down. There are so many things our animals teach us, honesty. So has anyone else out there believe, like I do, that spending time with animals has really made an incredible difference in things that we've learned from them? We learn all the time from our dogs and cats. And give me a call. Let me know, and I'll send you a great gift. 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-5752. Hey, don't go away. We're going to get to you, Steve, Teresa, and Catherine, I promise. I just want to say this right now that, when I do this show here, I try to answer as many questions as I can. And very often, we run out of time because the questions get really involved and are a little bit longer than I can do on the show. That's one of the reasons I wish you would go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't make a penny on my YouTube channel. Everything there is free. It's free, but I enjoy it. I get up in the morning and I do videos on how to stop your dog from this, or how to teach your cat how to do that, or just to have fun and just to enjoy. So go to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Subscribe to it. As I said, it's free, but I can go into a lot more detail in terms of certain questions that you may have, whether it be on my website, whether it be the people calling me about jumping. I give them some basic advice, but that real detailed advice, you can go to the website or to youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Definitely check it out. You'll have fun at the channel as well. Hey, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. I talked about this early on. I'm going to get to all your calls. I'm going to have to take a break now and get right to your calls. I mentioned the term onboarding. Onboarding is basically, if you're starting a new job, they call it onboarding period, giving you the opportunity to learn the ropes, the good things, the bad things to do about the new location where you're going to be working. So it occurred to me, with the majority of my listeners having adopted their dogs and having adopted their cats, does this kind of go to them as well? Yeah, I believe it. Adopters should be prepared to give their pet some detox time, the time they need to transition to living in an unfamiliar place with new surroundings, new people, new pets, and new rules. No one should expect a pet to be fully relaxed, understand the house rules, and fit right in the other pets in the household in just a time. I like the 3-month rule. Usually it takes about 3 months for them to kind of settle in, but give them that time. Just this week, I heard from 2 or 3 people, I didn't hear, but I read about them, that adopted a dog on Monday and returned the dog on Tuesday because he wasn't adapting. What is that all about? Onboarding, you need to give them the time to decompress, to detox, and adjust to whatever their new environment is. Hey, the phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll get back to your phone calls right away. I want you to listen to this spot really carefully. And we are back on the Pet Show. Great time to give me a call. You got a question or comment about your dog or cat? The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-5752. I still got some books to give away, some T-shirts to give away, some all-natural herbal flea spray. I want to give some of that away because this is going to be a horrible flea season. I got copies of my books and lots of other stuff as well. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Teresa, Steve, Dan will get to your calls for sure. If you burn oils in your home, try not to burn citrus. If you have cats, citrus can be really irritating to cats, so you probably want to stay away from citrus burning. Again, let me give out that YouTube channel because people are calling me and texting me. Here's my YouTube channel. Subscribe. I'm telling you, there's great tips there. Some are just a minute, some are longer. It's youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. That is the way to get through. Hey, just before I get to you, Teresa, Steve, and Dan, for my single people out there, would you go to an event called Prosecco and Pet Cats? Prosecco and Pet Cats. Prosecco, as you know, is a carbonated wine, I guess. They had a dating event this week for single people that loved cats and were looking maybe to adopt. And Prosecco, the dating event took place. They can have a couple of drinks, and it turns out that this dating platform absolutely worked, and many, many cats found their forever home. Maybe it was the Prosecco, who knows? But anything that can introduce animals that need homes to people that want them is a great idea. I don't know about the Prosecco, but anyway, the adoption event was really, really a good idea. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Let me go to Manhattan Beach, then we're going to go to Steve, and then Dan, I want to get to your call too. Hey, Teresa, how you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
Absolutely. Now, I know you're calling about, because I can see from my computer screen, the amazing Suzette put up that you want to know about a 13-year-old dog and pancreatitis. Pancreatitis is kind of interesting. There are so many causes for it: high-fat diet, dietary indiscretion, obesity, hypothyroidism, so many different things. Diabetes can cause it. Are you under care with a vet right now, Teresa?
I am, and the dog is in great shape. Other than that, that's the only blood test that was super high. We still even walk her like almost 4 miles a day with the pancreatitis. Did the vet put on?
Did the vet put her on a special diet?
She's on low-fat diet.
Okay, that's important. Yeah, because anything with high fat.
But I can't get her to eat. I can't get her to eat.
Is she underweight?
She's probably a perfect weight right now.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you don't eat anything, would you lose weight?
Yes.
So you're telling me your dog's not eating, not losing any weight?
She is, but so I take her out for walks and she just looks for food.
Okay, so here's the deal. I know, the low-fat food.
She's not eating her food.
Okay,
She's eating bread.
Here's what I want you to do. And run this by your vet. If you can take that low-fat diet that you're giving her, and you can get some low-fat chicken or beef or vegetable bouillon, low-fat, and if you can let that soak over the night, remember now, dogs really. Listen to me. You did it twice, you did it 3 times, maybe you did it 5 times. I'm doing 100 times till she eats, okay? Maybe she doesn't like that. Maybe you can use some low-fat pumpkin. There's a lot of things around that you can try. So before you give up, let's try a bunch of things. I want you to run it by your vet because obviously it has to be low-fat. There are many, many different foods on the market that are low-fat, made for dogs with pancreatitis. So maybe the food you're feeding her is not the only food on the market. Maybe there are ones that are more flavorful that can help you. But right now, what you need to do is you need to understand that a lot of those bland foods, listen, there are times I had to be on a bland food and I didn't want to eat it either. So you have to kind of fake it a little bit. You have to kind of flavor it, but only flavor it with something that, again, is non-fat and going to encourage a dog to eat. So 2 things. Number 1, I would go back to flavoring it with that, but I would also make sure you heat the food up a little bit before you give it to her. Just pop it in the microwave for a couple of seconds before you give it to her.
I was wondering about that. because she seems like if I open a fresh can, she seems more likely to eat it than if it came out of the refrigerator.
Okay, so here's the story, okay? Two things, and here's where I earn my medals, okay? Number one is dogs eat with their nose. So if it smells better, and it's going to smell better if it's a little heated, that's important. But here's the other thing I want you to do. If you can take some really stinky thing, something that she likes, chicken, beef, whatever it may be, take a container, and half of the container, put that meat. Put a piece of cardboard there. On the other half of the container, put a low-fat food. Let it sit in the refrigerator overnight. Then take that low-fat food, not the meat, just the low-fat food, heat it up for a second or two in the microwave and give it to her. Now, overnight, the fact that it was sitting in the refrigerator, it's going to take on the smell of the smelly meat or chicken that was alongside of it. You heat it up now, and that should really encourage her to eat.
All right. Thank you.
No, I'd give it a shot. I'm sure it's going to work for you. I don't want to send you any food, so I am going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you a T-shirt. Great call, by the way. But it's interesting, you know. You get that so many times. You know, I tried this, I tried that. It was a human. You keep trying till you found what worked. And again, as I suggest all the time, that heating up the food a little bit or making the food smell a little better can make all the difference in the world, especially with a dog with pancreatitis, because, you know, you have to really make sure that, and a lot of it can be caused by a high-fat diet. That's why it's so important you know exactly what you're feeding your dogs. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through to the show. I do got an open line or two. If you've been waiting, now's a great time to give me a call, 866-870-5752. I still got some Lucy pet food, some flea spray, and hugs and kisses to give away as well. I'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to get to Steve and we're going to get to Dan. I want to get to both of your calls when we come back right after this. But let me just share this with you. I don't often, you know what? Let me take a break. Then when I come back, I'm going to share this with you. Then I'm going to take Dan and Stephen. If you want to give me a call now, is a great time. 866-870-5752, 870-KRLA. Does your brain get tired? I wrote this week, and this is one of the things that'll be up on my YouTube. Does your brain get tired? Do you get a little distracted after sitting in a class or a meeting for hours on end? So what does this have to do with your dogs? Training fatigue. Training fatigue. You heard what I said earlier on today's show? I told someone, listen, don't worry about telling your dog how good it is when you're training him. Worry about training how good your dog is or telling your dog how good he is when he's doing nothing. Just lying around, sleeping, hanging out, eating. What a good boy, what a good boy, what a good girl, what a good boy. That's how you encourage good behavior, with positivity, not with negativity. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Quick break, then right back to your phone calls on more on Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back on the Pet Show on Warren Eckstein. Let me get right back to the phone lines here. Let's start out first with, you know what? Let me go to Steve first. Then we'll go to Dan 1 and Dan 2. We got two Dans up there. Let's go to Steve first, though, in North Hollywood. Hey, Steve, welcome to the show.
Hey, Warren. Good to talk to you. I'm at my wit's end with an unruly little mutt that I have. The way she behaves, every dog or any living animal that breathes, she barks at. She'll sit at the window and wait for dogs to walk by, barking like crazy. I take her out. She barks at every little thing. It's like walking a kite. She's pulling so much and barking at every single dog, whether it's across the street, nearby.
What have you done? What have you done to try to resolve this behavior?
Well, a while back I talked to you maybe a year ago. I tried to bring her to the dog park, take her near the dog park, try to get as close as I can without her reacting, and I've tried treats. I've tried, just about everything. And let
me just explain something to you right off the bat. Okay, you're not going to like what I have to say, but I'm going to tell you the way it is. This is not a dog problem. This is a Steve problem. There's no such thing as a dog that can't be trained to a point. They're not all going to be perfect. If the dog is barking, perhaps you're causing the dog to bark by telling her not to bark. Perhaps you're causing the dog to bark by holding her back when she sees another dog. If you get close to another dog, what's her reaction? Does she play with other dogs?
No, she doesn't like playing. She'll instantly get aggressive. Like I think it's like a fear, like a knee-jerk reaction. There's one dog on the block. And my neighbor has. I introduced them when she was a puppy. Adaka was a puppy, and doesn't react to that one. I don't know why she reacts to all
But
the
you
other
always
ones,
have you always introduced your dog to other dogs when your dog was on a leash?
No, sometimes I bring her to the park. I let her run around, and any dog that comes near her, that sometimes she'll sniff and be okay. Other times, if especially a puppy tries to jump or looks like she's going to jump on her, she freaks out. She'll chase dogs around and nip at them.
But that's what dogs do at the dog park. I'm confused here.
Yeah,
That's what, in other words, it sounds to me like you're trying to gain a little bit too much control over the dog. I don't think the dogs had the opportunity to be a dog. I think this dog and please take this the right way. What this dog needs is some good basic training, like all dogs need. But more important is the socialization. It sounds to me like when the dog barks, you get upset. So if let's say the dog's in your house at the window, another dog walks by, she's barking like crazy. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'll usually try to get in front of her and, block her, kind of not let her do that.
But in other words, that's a normal reaction. In other words, when a dog walks past another dog's home, the normal reaction is to bark. So when trying to stop instinctive behavior, you create more of a situation. Now, let me tell you, I've done this 1,000 times. In fact, a listener called last week and thanked me. When the dog is barking at another dog outside, rather than stand in front of her, which is creating more of a problem, go over to the dog and say, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you're barking and letting me know there's a dog out there, but I'll take over from here. Because the more you try to
Sometimes
correct
I'll just open up the door, let her run out the front gate and just bark her brains out, like at the, just let her do her thing.
But once again, you're not resolving the problem. You've had the problems going on for a year or so. You're not resolving it. So what you're doing is not working. I'm telling you the resolution. Okay. Number 1 is good basic training. Number 2 is what I want you to do is when she's barking like that, rather than overly correct, say thank you and continue walking or move on somewhere else. But the more you stand in front of her, the more you block her, you're trying to correct instinctive behavior. It's like trying to teach a male dog not to lift his leg when he pees. You're not going to do that. Instinctive behaviors, when a dog sees another dog in its hood, it's going to bark. And if you try to stop that barking, that's going to make the dog more assertive and more aggressive. Chances are, if that dog were to go out and meet that other dog on neutral territory, after a few times, they would become buddies. I don't think you're giving this dog ample time to socialize. I think the minute the dog reacts either by barking too much or going to the dog park and reacting too much, I think you're getting right on top of her at that point. That's not what you need to do. You need to give this dog a little bit more space. Find that other dog that she gets along with. Let them play together a little bit more. Take it to the dog park. See if there's some people there that might have a mellow dog that you'll walk around and play with. Don't give up on her, Steve. This is not a bad dog. This is not a problem dog. It seems to be a dog with a couple of issues, which I can trace back to you and to her at the same time. But I don't want you to give up. I want you to just follow through. Don't get frustrated. It will happen. You just need to be consistent, because the minute you get frustrated, you've lost it. The minute you get frustrated, you've lost it. You can fool me. You're not going to fool the dog. So follow that. Be consistent. I wish I can come to North Hollywood today and work with you, but I can't do that anymore. But again, the bottom line is simply give her some more time, but be consistent. If you stand in front of it, it's like it's trying to hold the guy back when he's fighting. You can't do it. It's not going to stop the fight. It's going to make the guy more aggressive.
Yeah.
That's not what you need to do at this point. You need to be more proactive rather than reactive. That's the big. I was going to talk about this next week, but it's very important that people are more proactive than reactive. They react to the dog when the dog is doing something they don't want the dog to do. Proactive is teaching the dog what you do want the dog to do. So if you would do the basic training with the dog, and the dog was taught to walk properly on your side, when you walked with him and you walked past another dog, if he barked, you would never stop. You would never say a word. You would just continue walking. What happens when he barks, I'm sure you're saying, no, stop it, knock it off, shut up, whatever you're saying, that's actually reinforcing that behavior. The more you respond to negative behavior, the more that negative behavior is reinforced. Not just with animals, with people too. Kids do the same thing. So I want you to focus. Did I send you, do you have a copy of the book, Steve?
I think I do. I do have a copy of your book.
Let me give you some great advice. Books are so much more informative when you read them.
Yeah.
They really, it's been about a year since you called. So I want you to do that, Steve. I'm going to put you on hold. I want you to follow my advice. Don't give up. I promise the dog will be fine. People are so frustrated with that. But let's send, let's send Steve a T-shirt as well. I'm breaking a sweat after that call. Really. It's unbelievable. You see, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, and I don't have time to, but I want to get to everyone's call. But here's the scenario. People tend to get angry at their dog's behavior when, in fact, they created that behavior or didn't try to resolve that behavior. Animals are creatures of continuity. And if you're standing in front of a dog when they're barking out the window, it's only going to make the dog more aggressive and more assertive. That's why it's so important that if you have questions, call me or speak to someone that's really involved with behavior and training. Great call, by the way, Steve. I really appreciate it. You made me break a sweat. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Dan, I'm going to try to get to you in Manhattan Beach. I want to get to you in Oxnard, Dan, but if for some reason I don't, I will give you the phone number for my national Canadian Armed Forces radio show, which starts right after I get off the air here, and you'll be my first callers there. So let me take a break. When we come back, we'll try to get to your calls right after this. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show. And I guess that's the Pink Path. We're back on the Pet Show. I'm going to try to get to Dan and Dan, but let me go to Dan first in Manhattan Beach. Hey, Dan, welcome to the show.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, Dan. I don't have a whole lot of time. What's up?
Okay, so just to kind of roll into one of your earlier announcements about Armed Forces Radio.
Yeah.
I am a retired vet with over 30 years of service.
Bless you for your service.
My dog is a 12-year-old blind and partially deaf border collie, and what she has taught me is both patience and grace. As she's gotten older and gone through the whole issue about being blind, she taught me the patience of dealing with a debilitating physical condition. She also taught me grace as she's getting older. She taught me how to gracefully grow older and deal with life's
what a great, Dan, what an amazing comment. So you were in the service for 30 years. Where did you serve?
All over the place. Everywhere.
God, I know.
I'm an Iraq vet. I've served in Europe. I've served all over America.
Well, bless you. As a veteran myself, bless you, and thank you for your service. And maybe I'll see you, because I think this Veterans Day, which is coming up, I think the 22nd, this Veterans Day, they used to have services, but I'm going to be going to Forest Lawn. I found out about that on Memorial Day. Forest Lawn has an incredible Veterans Day. I have a whole area in Forest Lawn for veterans, which I did not know about. So as a veteran myself, having served for quite a bit, I will be there. Anyway, what a great call, by the way. Listen, give that dog a hug and a kiss, and you're absolutely right. We can learn so much from them. We really, really can. And maybe I'll see you at Forest Lawn come Veterans Day. And again, thank you for your service. I'm going to put you on hold, and what I'm going to do for your dog, he's 13 years old, I'm going to send you a T-shirt that says "None of my friends walk upright" as well. I got to tell you that speaking to veterans is one of the most, not just because I'm one, but one of the most rewarding things that I can do. Dan in Oxford, you know what, Dan? I don't want to rush you, so why don't you do this, Dan? Take this number down. That goes for everyone out there. I don't want to rush anyone. Take this number down. This is the number for the national show, the Canadian show, the American Forces Radio show. Dan, it used to be called Armed Forces Radio. They changed the name to American Forces Radio. The phone number for that show starts exactly at 1 o'clock. Be patient when you're calling. Goes to Washington, D.C. That phone number is 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Interesting show today. Very, very busy. Just a reminder, you can call that number starting probably in 2 minutes, 877-725-8255. Dan, you'll be my first caller if you call up there as well. Interesting show today. A lot of interesting things, a lot of great questions, shock collars and this and that. Once again, I urge you, if you like listening to The Pet Show and you've been listening for a while, I'll be 44 years next month, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. I do share a lot of great information there, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. And I want you to understand that if you're looking for perfection in your dog or cat, you're never going to get it till you look for perfection in yourself. Enjoy them for who they are, what they are. Yeah, resolve any problems that you may be having, any issues they may be having with you. Resolve those issues. Get along, sit down, have a conversation, have a cup of coffee together, and then move on. Living with your pets is probably the most incredible relationship you'll ever have. So until next week, give them all a big hug and a kiss for you, one between the ears for me. Thanks to my engineer Alex and Suzette who screened. Give all your pets a big hug and a kiss. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you. Thank you again for listening to The Pet Show.